Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Outwater, and I'm going to be joined by Meg Giannatasio here. Today, we're going to be diving into the power of digital marketing campaigns for dental practices specifically. We're going to explore effective strategies that can help you attract, engage, and even retain patients across different social platforms. By the end of this presentation, our goal is really just to be able to provide you with resources as well as knowledge to best implement these digital marketing strategies into your practice. Whether it's one of them, some of them, all of them, we just want you to feel comfortable and confident in making a plan for moving forward. All right. So, for those of you who were not here for our last session, we did both just want to take a moment and reintroduce ourselves. My name is Megan, and yes, we are both named Megan. This was not intentional, but for the sake of today's call, you can refer to me as Megan and Megan Giannatasio as Meg. One of us will answer your questions regardless. I am a senior account executive here at CGI, and I've been a part of this team for about 8 years now. I work with a lot of small business owners all around the US as well as parts of Canada as well, in helping with their building their online presence and SEO. Prior to starting my career here at CGI, I attended school at St. John Fisher University in Western New York. Currently, I reside in Richmond, Virginia, and if anyone on this call is close to the area, you probably know we got hit with a whopping 2 inches of snow, which led me with no water for the last couple of days. Day 3 of no water. So uh, we're trying to move along here throughout the week. Hopefully, tomorrow is a little bit brighter. But aside from all of that, I am very excited to join everybody here today and chat with you. But before we dive in, I am going to go ahead and pass things over to Meg.
Thank you, Megan. My name is Megan Giannatasio. Like they said, you can refer to me as Meg for the evening with any questions that you have or like addressed. I have been with CGI for the last 14 years. I started in 2010, which has given me a front row seat to the evolution of digital marketing. Since that time, I've worked with my clients not only to impact their digital presence, but most importantly, their bottom line. In fact, last year I was invited to speak at one of my clients' national conventions to share their case study with all of their colleagues about how much we had impacted not only their digital presence, but in turn, revenue. A little bit of background: I was born and raised in a small town in Iowa. I always like to say I've got my farmer father's inherited work ethic, and I like to bring that to my clients, identify their needs, build strategies, and just improve the business of my clients. I majored in communications and psychology with the intention of getting into marketing. So, CGI has been an amazing conduit for both my personal and professional growth. And I'm excited to share some of the insights that we've been privy to over the last many years. So, let's dive in. In today's competitive digital landscape, standing out as a dental practice requires more than just skill and excellent patient care. It requires a strategic approach to online marketing. Social media, Google Ads, and YouTube advertising are all powerful tools that can help you attract, engage, and retain patients in ways traditional marketing simply can't. This presentation will explore the top strategies in each of these digital areas, giving you actionable insights to grow your patient base, boost your practice's visibility, and build lasting relationships with your community. Before we jump in, I'd like to make you aware we will be taking short pauses to answer questions about the various topics. So feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time, and we will address them during said breaks. So, as Megan covers a few of the many social media strategies, think to yourselves, Is this a strategy I've tried before? If so, what were the wins? What were the lessons? If not, how come? What's holding you back? With that, we'll dive in and unlock the potential of digital marketing for your practice. Take it away, Megan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, I'm going to talk a little bit how we can utilize social media specifically to leverage more growth for your dental practice. I think it's safe to assume these days that most of us on this call are at least familiar with social platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, right? Realistically, any of us can post on Facebook all day long if we'd like. And I'm sure a lot of us on this call maybe do, whether it was your New Year's resolution, a throwback Thursday, an exciting announcement. But if you're me, it's probably just a bunch of pictures of your dog. However, the difference between those general organic postings, like those examples I just listed, and then creating specific targeted ads for your business vastly differs. When constructing and implementing a paid social media campaign, you're able to leverage this as a tool for your dental practice in a much more effective way by making your business show up to those who are most likely to become a patient of yours, as opposed to just the general public or people that may already be a patient of yours. So, with that being said, it is going to be really important no matter where you're looking at your online presence, whether it's your website, your Google page, in this case, social media specifically. We need to make sure that we are establishing and then reinforcing a really strong brand identity. So, to start, that identity is going to be essential, right? This means that we need to make sure you have consistent logo, color scheme, even a tone of voice that's easily recognizable. I work with a lot of different dentists, and some of the offices are maybe more serious and upfront, while others are probably a bit more playful and casual. We really want to make sure that we're identifying a familiar presence for your business and then keeping that consistent across the board. The key is to adapt to each platform without losing your practice's distinct look and feel. This is going to help us build recognition, making your patients feel more connected to your brain or to your brand, I should say. Overall, I really just want to make sure that businesses are humanizing their online presence. Now, you're going to hear us talk a lot about content. Content is key, right? So I am always going to be encouraging business owners to focus on the big three, all right? Those big three are going to be informative and educational content, promotional content, and then as well as social content. Now, examples of educational content can help with positioning your practice as a trusted resource. So think about FAQs, preventative care tips, or maybe even explaining some more complex procedures in simpler terms for people to understand. Patients love to see before and after examples of your work too. I find this to be a really effective way to create promotional content. I will say from personal experience, I started my Invisalign journey this year. And when I was looking at practices to go to, I were checking out a lot of those before and after photos. I wanted to see and feel excited by looking at that. So that's a really easy way to, or not easy, but simple way to create promotional content. Having video is also really particularly effective for this, especially quick tips on Instagram stories or TikTok. Your patients will appreciate that insight and feel a lot more comfortable coming to you for their needs if they feel like they know you already. But then, of course, your social posts. So, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Halloween, things like that. Because let's remember, this is social media here. We want to make sure that we're connecting to visitors that feels a lot more approachable in a way. Now, when it comes to live Q&A sessions on social media, maybe you have partaken in this before as a user or as a business owner. But live Q&A sessions on platforms like Instagram or Facebook, they're going to allow you to answer patient or potential patient questions in real time. Hopefully, a lot like what we are doing right here today. We're able to engage, educate, and communicate all via video. Could you imagine if Meg and I just emailed all of you this PowerPoint and said, here you go, good luck, have fun? That wouldn't really be very interactive. Sure, you'd have the resources, but it's not nearly as approachable. So these sessions are going to make it a little bit more seamless for you to build trust, provide that valuable information, and even just kind of seek more of those prospective patients. So we definitely would recommend that you consider hosting sessions on topics that you find would be most beneficial for your patients. Some ideas could be tips for preventing cavities or understanding root canals and so on.
Yeah, and furthermore, polls and questions on platforms like Instagram stories encourage interaction with your followers. Ask them about their dental habits or solicit feedback on your services. We've got a poll that just came up here. If you can answer if you have ever run targeted ads on social media. And then we'll see the results. About half and half. Half of you do have some experience with social media, which is great, whether that's the ads that you guys have had success with before, that's awesome. If some of you have not, so this will be really informational. And we'll give you some ways to implement social media strategies here too, because involvement like this keeps your followers engaged, coming back, fostering a sense of community around your practice. Personally, I love nothing more than an option A or option B opinion poll. You can incorporate polls into your content and it will significantly increase engagement rates, often doubling the engagement rates that you would have compared to regular post. So making polls one of the most effective ways to boost interaction with your audience. You can put this into action by having a poll on your social media, let's say on your Instagram story, that's asking, would you rather learn more about Invisalign and its benefits or pediatric dental care? Based off of the results you get, you can do one of those Q&A sessions that Megan was just talking about. So we're creating engagement across multiple platforms.
Yeah, not only that, I think that that's interesting because you want to be able to, all this content talk, right? We want to make sure that you're creating content that your viewers want to see, right? We don't want it to be ignored. We want it to be created for them. So by creating those polls, like Meg mentioned, it can give you an inside look as to what your patients or prospective patients are looking for in a practice. Now, social media ads for precise targeting, when done correctly, really does allow just that overall growth, right? I've mentioned earlier that, of course, we can all post all day, every day on Facebook if we please. However, the only people that are going to see those posts are people that already follow you. So if you have 60, 100 followers on Facebook, you're limiting your audience to just that 60 to 100 people that already follow you. Not just that, but those are likely existing patients, right? You're not really targeting any new patient growth by just posting organically. Now, using those ads to reach patients in your local area and highlight popular services such as teeth whitening or Invisalign or something along those lines, dental implants, it's going to yield far more effective results. So, this more focused approach is going to make sure that your budget reaches those who are most likely to actually need your services while creating a higher return on your investment. You can see here on this slide, this is an example of an ad that we created for a client of ours, or a template of sorts of what it might look like. So they'll run the ad. They always have some sort of call to action, whether it's a learn more button to direct them to your website, or it'll take them to your Facebook profile in general, really just wanting to make sure that this is created with intention. Now, moving on here, these are a couple of examples of social media reports that I actually pulled from one of our clients. Um, Typically, if I have somebody that's on the fence of, should I do social media ads or should I just post organically and maybe boost a post here and there? This is what I'll go over with them to kind of show them the difference between strictly organic and paid advertising on Facebook. All right. So looking over at this graph right here, you'll notice that there are two sets of lines. We have this teal and pink color down here that's barely scratching the surface. And then you have the yellow and purple color that is really flowing up and down, creating a lot of traction. The pink and teal towards the bottom, that is the amount of impressions or views that this practice was receiving from their organic posts. So this client in particular posts probably on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, just introducing a new hygienist that they hired or thanking everyone for a wonderful 2024. They're looking forward to 2025. And then you'll see with the yellow and the purple lines, those are the impressions or views that their ads are receiving. Because the ads are able to reach more than just their already existing audience, they're accumulating a much higher volume of views or impressions. I think the most astounding fact, or sorry, not fact, just stat here, is the numbers in general. So for 2024, this client had about 12,000 organic views on their social media content, and then 120,000 paid advertising impressions. So they increased their content impressions by over 100,000 views. And that's really just the power of a well done and well performing campaign.
I always love all of the numbers that Megan can provide, and she can answer questions too about those analytics here in just a second. But to wrap up, we have covered a handful of effective strategies that can make a real difference for your practice on social media. Start small by picking one or two strategies that resonate, like educational or promotional videos. But remember that consistency in both posting and branding is the key to long term success. To bring this into action, you can do the polls like we said, or do the Q&As. But we're going to pause here and answer any questions about best practices for social media strategies. You can either raise your hand or type your question into the chat if you were
Yeah,
thinking
or
about.
even maybe if you had, like for those of you who mentioned you have run ads in the past, kind of thinking about what went well or what didn't go well. I hear a lot mixed reviews from people at times where they just kind of gave it their best shot and they didn't see a ton of responses, and that can often be because there was some sort of miscommunication in their campaign. We do have a question. Based on those analytics, did you see your clients gaining new patients over other practices because of that social media? Yes. So I'll start by mentioning that when it comes to those analytics, I like to go over those between a monthly and quarterly basis with clients because I, number one, first and foremost, want to make sure that they're producing results that they're looking for. The last thing I want is to make an ad go on cruise control for 3 months and not have any traction with it. Um, so that's why I'll meet with not just, our social media coordinator, but the client themselves, right? I want to ask them, hey, are you finding an uptick in phone calls? How are those new patient loads coming in? So I think the communication between analyzing reports and also going over them with clients is going to be really helpful in that.
Megan, we have a question from Greg that says, yes, I have a question. When it comes to frequency, how often should a practice plan on posting to social media to maintain relevancy with their current followers?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say usually, minimally once a week, you should be posting some sort of organic content. But when it comes to being competitive with others, I think that's really going to vary based on what your competitors are doing. I'm sure each of you on this call, none of your competitors are going to be the same. Smith Dental Care might be posting on a daily basis, which is going to mean you got to kick it up a notch if you want to remain competitive. But then Amy's Dental may never post at all. Therefore, you can do kind of the bare minimum and still exceed them. So I think it's going to vary based on your competitors, but a rule of thumb, you should be posting minimally every week or so.
Yeah, it's definitely depending on the market. There's always different variables. Another question, is it usually easy to measure ROI on social campaigns? What is the return on investment? That's
Yeah,
a big question we always get.
yes. So I want to be able to provide those reports so that you have a good perspective on what the traffic is looking like, right? There's going to be factors that we can control, like how the campaign is set up, who it's targeting, where it's targeting, what keywords we're targeting, but we cannot control the new patient seeing your ad, picking up the phone and calling, right? So it's my job to make sure that we are setting up a successful campaign. And then I want to hear from the dental practice, you know, how many new patients did you have in the month of March versus how many ads did you have in the month of April? Let's see that it's moving in an upwards trajectory so that we can confirm those results. If it's not, then clearly we need to address whether it's an underlying issue of seasonal or just simply bad campaigns.
Yeah, definitely getting granular with those analytics and finding correlations is what we love.
The last thing I ever want is to have someone set up a campaign and then just let it run in the background and hope for the best. I don't believe that that's how these work for you. I think that's how they work against you. They really do take, that constant communication and understanding of the data and how we can use that. I see somebody else said, do you test ads before posting? Um, we always, for us, example, in terms of the design of the ad, we will create it based on what the dental practice owner is looking to promote. We will then create that content, send it to the practice owner, and get approval. From there, the ad campaign will go live. What I do like to see typically in the first 6 months is look at the last 6 months in review and which campaign performed the best, which had the most engagement, the most likes, the most shares, because that's going to tell me that that's something that your prospective patients really care about. And we should consider that when planning ahead for the next 6 months. So I do find that these ads are not so much trial and error, but observing performance and making future decisions based on that performance.
I love the A/B testing, right?
Yes.
Um, and lastly, which social media platforms, Megan, would you recommend for dental offices? Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or all of the above? Any new platforms emerging?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to, there's no cookie cutter answer, right? Because everybody's practice is different. I think we have to think about who your target demographic is. if you find that a lot of your patients are ages 50 and above, I'm probably not going to recommend TikTok, right? But you may be more successful in that Facebook realm. But if you are looking to cater to a demographic that's, age 30 and below, yeah, TikTok, Instagram Reels, that's probably going to be something more relevant to your audience. So I think understanding who you're trying to cater to is a huge piece of the puzzle. However, I'll also say that I think they all work well individually, and then they all also complement each other together as well. New platforms emerging. I'm interested to see just what TikTok is going to look like, what Reels are going to look like. I think there probably will be some changes in the upcoming year. Um, I think it's probably too soon to say what those will look like, but I think that's the thing with technology and social media. It is always changing, and it's part of what makes this so exciting. The end goal, of course, is always the same, and that's new patient growth. But how we facilitate that new patient growth is always changing. Hopefully that helped some of those
Yeah,
questions.
thanks, Megan. Okay, well, let's move into Google Ads. So, what are Google Ads and why do they matter for dentists? We are now going to be covering some of the top Google Ad strategies for growing your dental practice. And over the next few slides, we'll dive into effective techniques that can attract and retain patients through Google Ads. So let's start with an overview of Google Ads and why it's particularly valuable for dental practices. Google Ads is an online advertising platform where businesses bid to display ads to users searching for services. I know it's a mouthful, but you guys have all seen this before. You're Googling cars for sale near me, and you've got a bunch of dealership websites that come up before the localized results. Oftentimes it'll say sponsored by. Those are your Google ads. For dentists, this is powerful because it allows you to reach patients exactly when they're searching for services like yours. Unlike traditional ads, Google Ads can, give your practice a competitive edge by appearing in local search results when patients need you most. You can think about it like social media is marketing to the type of customer that you typically treat, where Google Ads is marketing to the customer that is searching for your services. When it comes to these ads, they're not just customizable in the who, what, and where of it all, but also the budget and monthly ad spend based off of what your goals are, what your budget is, etc. Speaking of, let's do a poll, Lisa, and see where our audience is at with their participation in Google Ads. So if you can answer if you have ever run a Google ad for your business. Oh,
Another almost 50-50 split.
yep,
I
we're
like to
about
see
half.
that.
Yeah.
I know we can't particularly, it's not a poll or anything, but I'm curious to know how many of you that answered yes, just kind of ran it with a Google Ads coordinator, or if it was that $500 free credit that Google gives you when you first join. I know I hear that pretty often too. Um, Thanks for kind of dipping our toe into the Google Ads. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, yes, Google Ads, but what do we need to do before we even set up a Google ad campaign? And that is optimizing your Google business profile, right? So, opposed to creating social media campaigns alone, we all have the opportunity to advertise for paid Google ad campaigns. Optimizing the Google business profile first is going to be essential. This GBP page listing often appears on the maps or the search results. So it's likely going to be the first impression that patients even have of your practice, whether they were referred to you or they found you through some sort of advertising. I do want to take a moment and just look at an example so that you all know what I'm referring to. I'm sure you've seen something like this before, whether you Googled your own practice or Googled another business entirely. But this panel right here, this is your Google business profile. And you all should be claiming this page if you have not already. Whether you want to utilize Google advertising or not, this is something that you should all definitely have access to, if not ownership. This Google business profile tells me who you are, what you do, where you do it. It tells me what people think about you. And this is really where we're trying to get people to go. Whether it's to visit your website, click to call you, make an appointment, or maybe even directions to see where you're located. So that is the Google business profile that we are referring to, okay? So, um, we want to ensure that all that information is accurate, includes up-to-date photos, you're responding to your reviews, you're adding any kind of special offers that you're currently running. This can really significantly improve organic visibility, which is what Meg and I touched on in our last session. But overall, we just want to make sure that that profile is up to date and in good shape so that when you are advertising this profile, it's not an advert, you're not paying for clicks or leads to get to a page that isn't as relevant as it maybe should be. Now, once we've got your Google profile claimed, we've got it fully enhanced. Now it's time to start focusing on the different types of advertising campaigns. We need to focus on specific keywords that you are looking to target, whether it's teeth cleaning, teeth whitening, family dentist, whatever it may be. You also need to think about the locations that you're looking to target, right? Most people probably don't want to travel more than an hour to get to their dentist office. So we're not trying to target areas more than a certain mile radius of your office. So we want to consider phrases like dentist near me, teeth cleaning in Richmond, Virginia. These phrases are commonly used by patients searching for local dental care. So someone specialized in Google Ads specifically knows how to properly determine what's trending in your area because again, that is going to look different for everybody based on where you're located and who your audience is. Adding those location specific terms are going to help you rank higher in those searches, which is really just going to be crucial for attracting those new patients. Another type of ad is a display ad. So Google display ads are a highly effective tool for reaching a broad audience and enhancing brand visibility. Now, display ads are kind of like a digital billboard, right? I'm sure you've seen them, whether you're on weather.com or whatever news site that you're looking at, you'll see these sort of display banners, all right? So again, much like Facebook, for example, where you can decide who you're trying to target, whether it is a specific demographic or person of interest, you can do the same thing with these display ads, right? So through visually appealing ad formats, which again, you should have some sort of design team that can create these for you. It's really going to help elevate that brand awareness, improve web traffic, and then just overall business growth. One of my favorite types of ads, just because it's a kind of fun to see how it works, like Big Brother-esque, I guess you could say, are those remarketing ads. All right. So remarketing or retargeting ads are going to help allowing you to reach users who have already shown interest. So maybe they watched one of your videos on YouTube or they visited your website before and they maybe didn't call to schedule an appointment. But by keeping your practice visible to these prospective patients, you're going to stay top of mind, reminding of the services that they had considered. This is especially effective for patients who might still be weighing their options about which practice they'd like to go to. It gives them a bit of a gentle nudge to finally pick up the phone and call. I know Meg was giving me a story earlier. You'll probably tell it better than I do, but she mentioned a couple Christmases ago she really wanted these diamond earrings. So she was Googling things around her husband, hoping that it'll reappear as an ad on his phone. And that's kind of like what these remarketing ads are. I'm sure you've probably all experienced or witnessed that yourself.
His phone and his computer. That's right.
Phone and computer, you got to cover all of your bases.
That's right. It worked.
I'll take a brief moment just because I want to answer some of these questions here before I move too far. What do I recommend when responding to positive or negative reviews with HIPAA in mind? So, when it comes to responding to reviews, I'll start with negative first because I think those ones usually have the most concern for people. Um, when replying to a negative review, personally, I'm not trying to win back an unhappy patient. I think more oftentimes than not, they've already made up their mind, and they just want to be heard. So when I help patients or clients draft those negative reviews, I'm less thinking about appeasing them and more so trying to think about other people that might be reading those reviews. Our goal at the end of the day is just to come back in a calm, professional, and compassionate manner. Because of your field, you do have HIPAA violations, so you are not allowed to address them as a patient, but we still want to make sure that they're recognized and heard. So I usually stick with something along the lines of, "Hi, so and so. Thank you for reaching out. Please give us a call at whatever your phone number is so we can further assist you." You do not, unfortunately, have as much flexibility as maybe a plumber or a contractor does, but I do think it's important just that recognition alone. And same goes for positive. A simple "thank you so much, Denise. We really appreciate it," or something along those lines can be helpful.
There's another question here too, Megan. How do we use YouTube as an effective social media tool to drive new patient growth? How long should these YouTube videos be?
Yeah, so we are, spoiler alert, going to have a YouTube section after we discuss Google Ads. And technically, YouTube ads are a type of Google ad. YouTube is owned by Google, which again, I don't want to jump around too much and confuse anybody, but we are going to discuss those type of videos that should be utilized and overall how it can be a tool. So if we get to YouTube and I don't answer your questions, just ping us again and I'll make sure that I dive deeper into that. Moving right along. All right, so local service ads. So these are also probably something that you're all familiar with, whether you knew what you were looking at or not. Local service ads or LSAs typically have one of the highest conversion rates. They are, quite frankly, the more expensive budget that I find because of their higher success rate. Because not only are you listed as a Google screened, which I find helps establish credibility, you have to be approved to have an LSA ad, but it also directly converts into a phone call. I find that a lot of the ads that we've discussed really promote website traffic the most, which is great. But an LSA is going to be like a bypass from your website and straight to a phone call to your office. These are some examples of LSAs. If you maybe do a Google search for your area, you can even see some of maybe if any of your competitors are doing that. Okay, moving right along. So, one of the most crucial aspects of having a successful campaign is having someone well versed in the strategies being used, right? So, we highly recommend that if this is a path that you are looking to take for your practice, work with someone that is specialized in and or is certified to do so. I always kind of compare it to if I were to try and give myself a routine teeth cleaning. Could I do it? Maybe. Am I going to do it as good as my dentist office does? Absolutely not. I need to just go to the professionals. And I feel the same way about ad campaigns. I think that the way to have the highest rate of conversions and return on your investment is working with somebody that is certified in any of these aspects. Um, we did have another question. Thank you, everybody. This is like the best when people ask questions. But asking the best way to get good reviews with patients, and also getting them to interact with social media. In terms of getting new reviews, this is, I guess, slightly off topic from today's session, but you're going to have all of our contact information. So if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us after this. But personally, with our clients, we do use a tool that facilitates for reviews. It sends out automatic review requests in the form of a text or an email to patients 2 hours after their appointment. And what that does is it gives them an easy one-step, one-click option to write those reviews. I oftentimes find that if it's not easy, people will not do it. So it's all about making it as simple for them as possible. So the best way to get good reviews, long story long, have a good review strategy, have a good review gathering platform. Getting patients to interact with your social media. Think about how we all engage today. Video. We watch the news on video. We watch sports clips and highlights on video. We FaceTime or Zoom with people via video. So I'm a firm believer, Meg and I both find that video is one of the best ways to interact with patients on not just social media, but on the web in general. So we have another report here. You'll probably either love these or hate these, depending if graphs are your thing. But for me personally, again, I think knowledge is power, and it's crucial. It's a crucial part to having a successful campaign. We need to understand what performs well and what does not perform well in order to make the best decisions for upcoming campaigns. So one of the Google Ads coordinators that I work with over at our team, his name is Michael Thomas, and he is the best. I love him. He's really great about sending these monthly reports to our clients while also providing us with one for our quarterly check-ins. Just so you can get an idea of how their Google Ads campaigns were performing, this client specifically had a budget of a little under $16 a day. So when it comes to these campaigns, Meg mentioned already, they're very customizable, right? Some of you may want a $20 budget a day. Some of you may only want 10. That's okay. These are flexible. If we find that you can go a month to month with a $15 daily budget, great. But if we find that you maybe need to kick it up a notch, that's what our team is here for to analyze. Between September 1st and December 1st, this client spent about $1,000 on ad clicks. So you only pay for those ads when someone clicks on them. So for $1,000, they got 2,000 plus clicks with 44,000 impressions. This report right here is going to show us just essentially what device people are utilizing. I don't think it's going to come to a shock to anybody here that mobile is the dominant platform that people are viewing. I bet if you all go into your waiting rooms in the middle of the day, patients are all scrolling through their phones. That's kind of the new norm. But it is still interesting nonetheless, just to make sure that we are customizing those ads to best suit the type of device that they're utilizing most.
Yeah, and I always think it's interesting too to share the insights that we gather with one ad platform and integrate that into another. So, time of day on YouTube ads, we can integrate into our social media strategies. So, those insights are just so beneficial. But to recap Google Ads, it can be highly effective for bringing in new patients. Using local targeting, mobile optimization, ad extensions, consistent A B testing are all essential strategies. With a thoughtful, well targeted Google Ad strategy, you can reach more patients, build trust, and grow your practice effectively. And rather than pausing for questions here, because we are running short on time and we want to make sure we get through our YouTube ads and all of the content that we've got coming up, feel free to go ahead and continue to type your questions in. We will address them at the end for any of the Google ads or YouTube questions or overall questions that you have. So let's go ahead and dive in to YouTube ads. I don't know if you guys know that YouTube is the second most widely search engine in the world, only second to Google. The power of video is unlike any other. Similarly to our other paid advertising campaigns we've been discussing today, YouTube is an effective way to specifically target patients in an extremely cost-effective manner. Not to mention, so many people watch YouTube TV, and this is basically like our modern day television commercial at a significantly lower cost. For me, and although my husband would prefer I didn't, I'll find DIY projects on TikTok and then I jump over to YouTube to get the play by play on how to actually do my project. In that case, I'll search directly on YouTube. But even in general searches, if any of the results have video options, I'm going straight into YouTube. So, Megan's going to talk about how our clients see the best results through our YouTube strategies. But first, let's actually do a quick poll here. Is anybody currently, or has anybody done a YouTube ad campaign before? What do you think, Megan? Are we going to get half and half again?
I don't think so. I will be shocked.
Okay.
Yep,
No, you were right.
just a
Awesome.
handful.
Mm-hmm.
So like I mentioned, I mean, YouTube ads are actually a form of Google ads, realistically. So with that being said, I will try to just kind of be mindful of our time here. But they're set up a lot like how Google ad campaigns are, right? You can pick a specific location that you want your ads to be displayed on. You can pick, people that have certain interests. For someone that is looking up teeth whitening a lot, that is going to be somebody that is relevant here as well, right? And I think what's so powerful with this, someone asked a question earlier, how to best interact with people on social media. It is video. I said that once, I'll say it again. As cheesy as it sounds, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So the impact to be able to target your audience is going to be significantly higher on a video-based platform such as YouTube. So again, we can discuss how those location-specific targeting works. Those in households with a YouTube TV account in whether it's mile radius that you're going with or the zip codes that you are choosing, the towns, that is really how we can directly reach potential patients close to your practice and are going to be a lot more, influenced to become a patient of yours. Believe Meg, this is you.
One of, yeah, sorry, one of, I was getting all in the data there.
No, you're good.
Um, I just love it. Because one of YouTube's biggest strengths is the ability to show off your practice's personality by sharing behind the scenes videos, introducing your team, or giving a virtual tour of your office. You're creating a sense of film familiarity that puts patients at ease. When viewers feel comfortable with you before they even step foot into your office, they're more likely to reach out. Featuring patient testimonials in these videos is also highly effective. It's one thing that I always encourage my doctors to do. Having your patients come out and talk about their experience and the care that they get from you goes such a long way with them transferring their enthusiasm. And it's social proof that builds trust and further encourages prospective patients to book with you.
This is just another example of a YouTube report. As mentioned already, data is going to be impactful for A, holding your team accountable, right? If you have somebody that's managing a YouTube campaign for you, you want to make sure that you can see those results in a more tangible manner. But then they're also going to help us with deciphering what's going to work well for the upcoming quarter versus what we can maybe leave behind in the previous one.
In summary, YouTube advertising offers a unique and powerful way to reach new patients, build brand recognition, and foster connection with your community. By applying the strategies that Megan's gone over, your practice can educate, engage, and grow your patient base. If you do have questions about YouTube advertising or the type of content to film for the ads, we will be covering that and more in a few minutes following the conclusion of our session. Um, but
Yeah, I think
let's
I will answer one of the questions that was asked about the video length just before it slips my mind. So the thing with YouTube ads is that you only pay, much like cost per click with Google ads, you pay cost per view in total. So if someone doesn't watch your entire 30-second ad, you don't have to pay for it. But if they watch the first 15 seconds and then skip, same thing. You don't have to pay for that. So while we recommend a 30-second ad to fill that space, I do want to make sure that in that first 15 seconds, that's where we have the most important information because that's what they're going to see no matter what.
Cedric, that answer your question.
We also had somebody say, can they repurpose existing video content or do you have to create specific content for YouTube? Um, You can definitely repurpose existing video content. I think it matters more so about the quality of the video, right? YouTube, along with Google, is a bit of a stickler for the quality, how it was produced, and how it's uploaded. So I'm not ever going to recommend just taking your iPhone or your Android and filming something on there and using that for your ad. I do recommend more produced outlet in terms of video content. But yes, repurposed or brand new is not an issue. More so quality over quantity here.
Let's hop
Before we
into
get
our
into our final questions, I'll just quickly wrap us up here, put a bow on it. Investing in digital advertising is going to allow your dental practice to reap numerous of benefits. This is going to include brand awareness, targeted patient acquisition, improved patient engagement, and overall just the abundance of data insights for optimizing future campaigns. We recommend all business owners embrace these modern marketing strategies. Dental practices can not only enhance their bottom line, but also provide better access to quality dental care for your communities.